Hey everybody, welcome to Hockey Skate Down. Before we get into the video, I just want to say thank you to all my subscribers. If you want to join our hockey team, it's free. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell to all. Thank you all so much, and let's get started. So, this JT Miller saga with the Vancouver Canucks will not end. And where will he go? You know, there's a lot of teams that are being mentioned, being linked to the Vancouver Canucks to try to acquire him. The list started with the New York Rangers, then it went to the Devils. You heard the Devils in on it, not in on it. Now they're back in on it. You heard the Carolina Hurricanes coming into the mix now, and now the Dallas Stars. So this list of teams will grow as we near the trade deadline, but keep your eye on JT Miller. This is going to be every day you're going to hear a different rumor, different players mentioned, being linked to the Vancouver Canucks. So it's an interesting scenario to see where he's going to end up. You know, and I know the Vancouver Canucks and the Canucks fans want to just have this done with already because it's been ongoing with JT Miller and where he's going to go leading up to the trade deadline. So in this video, I want to talk about several insiders talking about JT Miller, linking him to the Devils and other teams as well. So I'll put those videos on now, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it.
You think he'll be playing next week?
I'm in Jersey. Go call somebody else. You're crazy. Good luck. Good luck with your two guys thinking your team. Because Vancouver right now has got to do something, right? They're not playing great, and their season's slipping away. No, he sure better than JT Miller straight up, let alone some sort of trade. It is going to be Nemitz and a prospect, or if you want to go to a forward, they need a centerman. I don't like throwing names out there, but Dawson Mercer. He plays on the wing right now, but could he play? He's been a 20-goal scorer. He's a young guy, got a good deal. Could he be an attractive option as a centerman going back the other way? I don't know, but if I had to guess, that's what I'm guessing.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, that's again, if you're Vancouver, you're trying to figure out though, like, are you bringing in futures? Mm-hmm. Are you bringing in
what
guys
are we doing here?
Try to help you win right now?
Exactly. This year, yeah, you're probably trying to do both. They probably want another defenseman because everyone does, but they probably also have to replace a centerman. So could you get a 2-for-1 for JT Miller, or do you go one sort of quality player and then hope for the best there? They're in a tough spot. Not a spot of their own making, but they're in a tough spot.
Yeah, they sure are. All right. Well, keep your nose to the grindstone down there, man. We got a Jersey. I love it. Insider Mike Johnson.
JT Miller checking into my hotel. I'll let you know.
Yeah, please do. Make sure you go paparazzi the whole thing.
There was all kinds of talk about a deal becoming very close between the Rangers and the Canucks for JT Miller over the weekend. That didn't unfold. But Pierre, are we now at the point where we're saying when and not just if the Canucks are going to move Miller out of Vancouver?
Yeah, that's the sense that you get, Gino, when talking to people involved in this situation, that everyone seems to agree that the end result will be a trade eventually. What they can't predict is when exactly. Could be as early as this week, could be closer to the March 7th trade deadline, could also be this summer in the offseason, Gino. We could still be talking about this, so get ready for that. A couple things that are important to know. One is that Miller hasn't given the Canucks a list of teams that he would waive for, although in those conversations between his camp and the Canucks, there's a sense of the general parameters of the kind of team that would make sense. And yes, there are other teams other than the Rangers that have been in talks with the Vancouver Canucks. One of them is the Carolina Hurricanes, who are looking for an upgrade on offense. And the Hurricanes are looking to see what would make sense if they make an offer to trade for JT Miller. The New Jersey Devils, the Rangers' rivals, they've also been a late entrant in this, and they've held talks with the Canucks and JT Miller. I also think that internally, the Devils are trying to sort of suss out if it makes sense to go all in on this or not at this point and where they are. The Dallas Stars, with all of that cap money that they can spend with Tyler Seguin on the shelf, that's a team that a lot of people believe JT Miller might wait for. Will they make a pitch? So there are other teams involved, but one thing the Canucks have sort of changed their tune on, when this started 6-7 weeks ago in talks on JT Miller, the Canucks said, we need apples for apples. We're trying to make the playoffs here. We don't want to do a futures deal. The Canucks have relented a bit on that. They would do a futures deal when it comes to making a deal with a contender like a Carolina or a New Jersey, because they understand those teams don't want to trade away from their core. So still to play out here, but the Canucks are telling teams, we're not giving this guy away. We'll see where it goes.
So that was the video. So I'll talk about the Devils first in this. You saw this mock trade going around after the whole Shimon Nemitz talking about voicing his frustration about playing in the AHL. You saw this mock trade going around of JT Miller being traded for Shimon Nemitz, Dawson Mercer, and a 2025 fourth-round pick. I wouldn't do this, but you keep hearing the buzzer on Shimon Nemitz now. You see the Devils logjam on defense for now and in the future and who they want to try to sign. So it kind of leads you to believe that maybe a prospect may go in this situation, and it could be possibly Shimon Nemitz as a piece of it. It could be Seamus Casey as a piece of it, and other pieces as well to try to acquire JT Miller. You're hearing a lot of people talk about this. Dan Powers was talking about it. He tweeted about this from Empty Netters podcast. So there is a lot of people talking about this link between the Devils and the Vancouver Canucks for JT Miller. We heard that at the same time of this, we heard that JT Miller was almost pulled from a game over the weekend because of Canucks had a deal, but that deal fell apart. That was, the buzz you're hearing about that is that it was the New York Rangers that had a deal going. The New York Rangers were that team said to be close, and we heard that maybe a package was Philip Hedl, Ryan Lindgren, and a first-round pick. But the thing that caused it to not go through was the first-round pick protection was the main piece. You also heard that the Canucks wanted Lafreniere or Braden Schneider in the deal. And, we don't know if the Rangers want to go that route. And then we heard that, after that Elliot Friedman tweeted out that some teams have permission to talk to Miller and his camp about waiving his no-move clause to go there. But then we saw that the New Jersey Devils were not one of those teams. That was the interesting thing. And, then you started hearing that the Hurricanes really wanted him. And, playing for Rod Brindamore would be an ideal situation for JT Miller. You heard the package with that being Kotkaniemi, Roslovic, and plus for the return. And, now we're hearing that the Devils, are back in on this, as we heard from Pierre LeBrun. We're hearing that how deep they want to go with this. Do they want to make a big deal like this? Do they want to go a different route? And it's something to consider when you're talking about the Devils for JT Miller, especially if it's Shimon Nemitz or Seamus Casey. I don't want to do this because of the age difference. JT Miller is 31 years old, but, you look at everything the Devils are looking for. He's got size. He's 6'1", 218 pounds. He can play center. You can play him on the wing as well. But he's primarily a center. He's got an $8 million cap hit. He's in year 2 of 7, and he'll be 37 at the end of this contract. When you look at JT Miller overall, he broke in with the New York Rangers, got traded to the Tampa Bay Lightning, got traded to the Vancouver Canucks. So, when you look at what's going on this year, and then you go against what he's done in his past, is he a locker room issue is the main concern now. So if you're throwing in major prospects, and I'm talking about major prospects like Shimon Nemitz or Seamus Casey in this matter, you got to think of the age and you got to think of what's going on in the locker room. The Devils have a good locker room going on. They don't want to throw off that chemistry. I know now they're kind of off it a bit. They haven't been winning as much as they were a couple of weeks ago. But, they have good players in that locker room. And, you want to keep that chemistry going. You don't want to bring in a player like Miller who's going to disrupt that. That's another concern. He's dealing with a lot now. You saw what happened to him to start the year. Started off slow. He took a leave of absence, dealing with injuries. And then you heard about the whole situation with Elias Pettersson going on. And we saw on-ice altercations that he had with teammates over the years. You heard about his situations in the locker room. Is he a hard person to get along with the rest of your team? So when you're nearing the trade deadline and you're nearing the playoffs, you're trying to assemble a tight-knit team, and you don't want to bring in any sort of distractions. So that's the thing I think a lot of GMs are going back and forth about with JT Miller now. You look at his production on the ice. You look at just last year. What did he have? 37 goals, 103 points. This guy can produce. And when he plays, he's an absolute beast out there. He's a warrior. He plays for the team. And you want players like that on your team. But you don't know what's going to happen. Does he overstay his welcome with teams? Is he an issue in the locker room? Does he cause players who are less strong-minded to, falter a bit because of the way he goes about his play and his demeanor? I don't know. But, it's a situation where a lot of GMs are going to evaluate as we go into this. You know, JT Miller is a performer. He can score. You've seen multiple years of 30 goals. He's put up 80, 90, 100 plus points. And, you know, he's a great player. So I think that's the back and forth with this. A lot of teams are going back and forth with their packages. You're hearing a lot of people talking about the return might not be that good for the Vancouver Canucks. You know, I think they will get something substantial for him, but, you know, is it going to be a lot of these names that I'm mentioning in these packages? I don't know, but it's just interesting to hear the list of teams growing for JT Miller and where will he end up. So comment below, what do you think about this? If you're a Ranger fan, would you give up those pieces to get him? If you're a Devil fan, would you give up those pieces to get him? If you're a Carolina Hurricanes fan, would you give up those pieces to get him? You know, in the Dallas Stars, if you're fans, if you're interested, what would be the cost to acquire him from your team? Comment below and let me know what you think about this. You know, it's interesting. I'm curious to see where JT Miller goes and where this leads to with the rumors as we enter the trade deadline. Comment below and let me know. Thank you all so much. Have a great rest of the day. Have a great night. Take it easy. Stay safe.